Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my afternoon stream. Or mid-afternoon or whatever. Instead of my mid-morning stream. Because I had a massive headache this morning. So we started late. That's okay. We're still here. So, I'm actually sitting around in GPTP. I'm trying to add sight range to the armor display for the weapon armor tooltip function. So I'm learning. I'm wondering where they actually put this. I see damage type. I don't know, actually. I'm not sure what you would do there. Because it's just going to be an integer. Oh, and never mind. I don't actually need to put a switch case in. It looks like what we're dealing with is... You see how size text is here? Size text is taken up that way. So we could do something like... unit site, which is my variable here. And then over here I have to add like another thing for it. So I don't know how this stuff works exactly. What's up, iQuery? Yeah, I'm feeling better. Hopefully it completely goes away in the next hour or so. Say something like... I don't know what percent to give it though. Site would be percent. I guess just S. Oh, but there's going to be a sight range bonus field as well. So it would be like bonus sight. And let's say plus percent D. And then we have to define. Let's see, sight. 0. This feels like poorly written code, but whatever. So in this case, we would say that. Copy that, but we would add unit site bonus site. Oh, I guess it was already there. Alright, well in theory that's okay, but it's still giving me a green underline underneath this. And then we have to do definitions for the bonus site. Which would be site. I'm actually surprised there's not a switch for bonus armor, but I guess that's done separately. It's like it takes the armor bonus or whatever. Alright, so for switch bonus site. Case. How did they format this stuff? I'll just do based on the unit size, I guess. So we have I guess this means we have to hard code the site bonuses to individual upgrades the same way that the range bonuses are done. That feels dumb. It should just be a flag or something. How did they do it for armor bonus? Get armor bonus, which is done. Oh, it's only sat here once. I wonder if there's like a. Hold on. So we do bonus site and we say get. Site range bonus. I assume this is like what's called a method, but that means that I have to find. Must be in like C unit or something. Get armor bonus. Well, it's defined here. I actually don't know where the functions are defined for this. That's not it. Maybe there's something in the CPP file. What's up, Veek? I'm hunting down. I'm trying to figure out like where the let's see, I'm trying to hunt down wherever these like the get armor range bonus stuff is documented or called. I don't think it would be in here. No, that's in a hook or something. I'm basically just trying to write my own method or function or whatever you would call it so that I can immediately grab the bonus sight range and display it in the string stuff here. I also did this wrong somehow, but I've never used Sprint FS, so I don't know what's missing there. But I can look at that later on. So I added the definition for my new function, but I don't actually know where these things are written or defined, like the functions, basically. Like I know where it is in A's, but I have no idea where it is in here. So I guess I'll just run a brute force search for get armor bonus. Oh, looks like it was in here. Funkin' armor bonus. No, it doesn't look like it. Oh, is it this? Oh, these are actual functions? Like assembly functions? I would have to add to this? Maybe? But surely I should be able to add something to this file without it being referencing another assembly bit. Like over here, it looks like this stuff is, as an example, doesn't need to be there. But I don't know. I don't know how pliable this stuff is. So let's say range bonus. So we'll say return unit stat sight range plus. Oh. Yeah, I was going to say like we should get the base sight range. Well, we should get the current sight range. But I don't actually know how to write that out. What I was thinking is we can do a simple a bit of simple math and then subtract the current sight range, or take the current sight range and subtract the base sight range from it. And if it's anything above 0, then we would, or I guess if it's not 0, we would put that in there. So maybe we can do that in the file itself instead of bothering with this. Maybe I could just go into armor tooltip. But then I don't know how to make it specific to that unit. So let's just say 0 for now. And then we can do if how come I can assign shit to the unit, or I can reference the unit? How come I can do that in here but not anywhere else? That's confusing. So I think that will work because the get sight range thing. Oh, I guess we can do this. Wait, why doesn't it like that? Oh, I thought I had to specify that, but I guess not. And then we can say if bonus sight greater than 0. Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, this also seems like it's very poor code as far as where how I'm designing it. What's up, Middlehead? Well, but we'll try it, and then maybe somebody else will come up with a better one. Bonus armor. And we can. Oh yeah, I guess we should do bonus site. I guess the smarter way to do this would probably be to specify different parts of the sprintf in different strings, or like print out different functions based on that. So it's like, instead of returning 1, 2, 3, 4 in different orders across 4 or 5 different functions, you would just say, all right, return 1, 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the first one based on what I have here, and then in the next function do the same thing. That would probably be smarter, but I'm not exactly sure how I would do that, because I guess I would have to store them as variables or something. Yeah, I'm not sure how you would move And even this, I don't think, would cover all of the examples, but whatever. Because, like, one could be positive and the other could be negative. So I should probably just scrap this whole thing, TBH. But that's okay. Let's see if it yells at me for whatever reason. Got quality of life update to Hydra. Uh-oh. So I guess it just can't be const since it's modifiable. What's up, Hoopy? Asian hours. Oh, are you talking about my music? It sounds like it's not enforcing the type of data that's being copied and pasted. Well, I must once again qualify everything that I say with the fact that I have no idea what I'm talking about. Still learning everything. Well, you want me to look at the... I don't even know what functions you sent me, to be honest. Were you sending me stuff for getting bonus sight range or something? Uh-oh. Hey, mismatched types in librs. Is the AI train unit hook fucked or something? What happened? You fuck. Oop, no. My eyeballs. What did you want me to look at? I got them. Man, it's incredible how slow some of these programs make your computer. All right. Well, the second one that you gave me is way longer. Looks like it's dealing with X and Y. Oh, it's a unit finder. What the fuck? Wait, what functions did you send me? I thought you were sending me some stuff that was... unrelated. Oh. And then Veek immediately fixed whatever issue he was talking about. Nice. Oh yeah, I gotta throw the read me. Oops. Man, that headache may have done a number on me. Just gotta upload this readme. Just wanted to make sure he put his name on the translation. Readme's up. Okay, so I'm looking at function pseudocode. I don't know why I'm doing that, but... Yeah, he translated the Zerg expansion campaign, and he's working on finale now. Which obviously won't have translated voice acting. Just, that'll be a subtitled anime playthrough. Alright, so by the looks of things, I'm not actually able to do what I wanted to do here. For whatever reason, it doesn't want me to subtract within this. I don't know why. I basically wanted to take the base sight range, or the current sight range of the unit, and subtract the base sight range of the unit. And as such, if the unit had more or less sight range than what it was, then we would be able to display the bonus armor or whatever. But clearly this this attempt has gone horribly wrong, and so I'll just go ahead and revert. Oh, that's one? How embarrassing. Well, you see, I tried to plug in bool is for spellcasting equals false, and then it yelled at me. Yeah, it's later than I usually stream. I had a massive headache, so I just delayed it for a while. Good catch, Iquare. But yeah, I don't actually know. I don't know if my sprint F is listed correctly. Oh, that's what it was. I was so confused. I was like, what do you mean it's spelled correctly? What a mess. Yeah, this is such an ugly block of code I've turned this into, because I still have to add another set of cases. I'll think about how to actually fix that. What I'm thinking is we need to be able to, like, load something differently. I don't know. We need to be able to write data to the sprintf depending on what some of these values are. And I don't know if that's possible. Because doing it in this manner is just asinine. Alright, so there was some fuck up that happened over here. I'm not sure why this is a mismatch. What is the distinction here? Ichor said hook mismatches with function. So what I'm guessing is the hook declaration in mod RS might be wrong, or what? I mean, it's not like that. It's not in the right spot. Is the name wrong? If the name was wrong, then there just wouldn't be anything. What the fuck? AI train unit hook. So I guess it's because the definition in mod RS for AI train unit hook is wrong then, or there's a mismatch there. It's unit U32 void unit. And that's what we have here. Oh no, it's unit ID, so this should be U32. That was the problem, I think. We'll find out. Oh, okay. So Ichor sent me some entirely different functions when I asked about something completely different. All right, I was very confused by that one. That was pretty epic. All right, we'll minimize that, and this worked. Epic. Okay. Slap that there, and then now if I pop open Firegraft, we'll add this stuff in. Oh, that really was the last one I had open. God damn it. How did I know something like that was going to happen? Alright. Okay, so we'll go ahead and revert to an older version of that. No need to bother there, I don't think. Okay, so we'll do that. That's fine. We'll earmark that. Make sure that everything's good in the hood. That'll be something else for us to do later. Okay, so we fixed that. Now, I'm pretty convinced at this point that what we need here is Zerg here. And so I think it's time we get some Zerg AI started. Now, I don't know how much work exactly we'll be able to get done on this thing, but we'll see. I think I got all the units. Obviously, there's aberrants as well. I think that's everything there. Now, what I would really love to see, anyway, is, well, once the variable system is made player specific, we'll just have tons of opportunity to experiment with our melee AI and get them all thrown out there and see what happens. I don't think that they'll do particularly well against real players right now, but the fact that we have something that we can throw in there is better than nothing. And then finally, you know, you'll be able to play Hydra against computers while you wait for the maps to be done. So. And then obviously this will really speed up my development cycle for the missions, because all I will have to do, well, all that I'll have to do is take any personality that's in that mission that I haven't already written an AI script for, and then take the melee script for that race and cut out stuff I'm not using and tweak a bunch of stuff that I am using so that it better reflects whatever personality I'm writing the script for. But I already have a working skeleton that I know functions. And then I can plop that into the map. I can get base layouts written in for them. I can, again, like, cut out everything I'm not using and, you know, modify whatever I am using. It cuts down the amount of time that it takes for me to develop the AI. Like, once these basic, like, again, these skeletons of the AI are complete, then all I have to do is decide how I'm going to flesh them out with real, you know, content in that sense. So, pretty cool, I know. Say 1 meter, say 3 screws. Yeah. I was also thinking about making Gorgoleths require a spire instead of, well, rather require a layer instead of a hive, basically. So you, like, the Gorgoleth tech structure would require a layer as opposed to a hive. So you could jump to those if necessary. I think that, and maybe like a reduced structure tech cost, resource cost or whatever, would help to encourage their use, should they need that encouragement in the first place. Which remains to be seen. But. So we'll say I think eventually for the melee AI, you'll probably end up seeing unique defense threads for each personality as well. So that'll somewhat complicate things in terms of adding a lot more code and stuff, but it's really not that much labor on my part to do. Trying to think if there's... I don't think so. I think it's all pretty straightforward. I think all of them will want... I guess we can do spawn Zergling and we can do... We can have them be separate. That's fine, I guess. So we know there's going to be this, that, and the other. What's up, Dubaka? Welcome. So I want to say, trying to like visualize all of the different. Zerg might actually have an easier time upgrading their stuff, right? Because it's just Ultra Defiler. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm missing. Oh, there's Lair and Hive, of course. So we should do that. And we can say, I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself? Nice, good to hear. So we have Hive Defiler. I'm trying to get started on my my various Zerg AI's personalities now, and just getting the framework done for that. Oh, well, yeah, they took it away for the average Joe, I guess, but I don't even work with Remastered anymore. SEM Draft is free to download, and it does work with Remastered if you want to. I can toss you a link if you like. That's what I'm using. Parasite, Swarm. What are their defaults? I don't think they know this one. Oh, thanks. Glad you think so. I hope everybody becomes as awesome as I do, man. We got Swarm, we got... I'm trying to think of, like, names for the personalities. I guess Swarm would be, like, the one. We would have... I guess this would just be like Hydra. I don't know what to call that one. Connor. Oh, you know what we can do is we can just do this. Why would you like me to do that? You Lord of the Rings fan? Yeah, well, it's super easy to change names. You don't even need to mod to do that. Ah, no problem. I actually think those Zerg upgrades are going to be so easy by comparison. The Protoss ones, I was like ripping my hair out trying to figure out under what circumstances would they want to do what, but for whatever reason, the Zerg ones seem more straightforward. Oh yeah, I guess I should add in station. Yes, that is possible to do. You just pop in here, you go into unit settings, you find the Ultralisk or Zergling, and you select untick use defaults, tick custom name, and then just write whatever. That's how you would do it. Of course, just editing the name doesn't really do anything to the unit, but, you know. No problem. All right, so we have Hive. Spine. Oops. What a prank. Okay. Oh yeah, that reminds me. I think there were supposed to be unique upgrades for I was going to end up thinking about upgrades for Devourers and for Guardians at some point, since I have upgrades for the Gorgoleths, so I guess that means I'll have to do bring Shem 13 at least multi 1 Gorgoleth. Sorry. We'll say Guardian Roost, which is actually what Greater Spire is, and then we'll say Devour, Haunt, Guard, and I have no idea how I'm going to do Aberrants. I'll just leave that for now. What's going on? Popu? I have no idea what that means. Open season. But I am... Oh, is it because my stream name is still Man vs. Deer? If so, that's just because the mission pack I'm working on right now is called Deer Fucker, which is a very serious and non-satirical series of maps. So that's probably why it's called that, if I had to guess. So not quite open season, it's not quite hunting time, although I guess the weather is pretty nice, so you could go and find some. In fact, I have found deer in my local neighborhood before, just hiking. I don't know where they go otherwise. Deer and turkeys all over the place. But I don't have the ability to go hunting. I don't have like a rifle or a bow and arrow. I'm not Joe Rogan, you know. I probably could do a little goose boxing, though. We see geese all the time when we're walking around these days. So could probably just conk one on the head and take it home if I really wanted to. I just don't think that would be reasonable. It would just be rude. And everybody knows I'm not rude. Very considerate gentleman. Now, did I get everything here? Evo missile armor, melee, obstruct armor. I think I got everything. Dear fucker, yeah. It's all one word, though. Dear fucker. I haven't written much documentation on the project yet, but if you wanna know what it's all about, let's see.
And you, even on the eve of your birth, you challenge a god for his deer. I'll bet you haven't even seen a deer before.
So that's what that's a nice little sneak peek, anyway. Don't challenge a god for his deer unless you're prepared to see a deer, if you know what I mean. It's quite the statement. That's for sure. Like, really, the justification for it is, if you've at all followed my journey throughout custom strategy content, like custom campaigns for Brood War or whatever, I've made no bones about the fact that I have universally detested the inclusion of hero units, be it Blizzard's content or actual user-made content. And the Deerfucker project allows me to experiment with a lot of different things. Like, I have much more freedom of, like, just deciding, hey, I'm going to, set you up as like a Zerg and Terran alliance against, whatever I want. Or, like, I can pretty much do whatever I want in that sense because I can create the setting that justifies the inclusion of certain allegiances. Whereas obviously with Hydra or with some other thing where the story is already established in some capacity, like, you can't just create a justification for stuff like that out your wazoo. You can't pull it out of your ass the way that I can with a project that obviously doesn't take itself very seriously, considering the name. So, like, it's a boon in that respect. But the hero connection is that this is a campaign where there are characters, and despite the zany, weird nature of the writing, I actually want the characters to feel relatable, and I want characters to feel like, oh yeah, they have... I want players to be able to look at the characters and feel like there's something there, something to take seriously. And I'm also trying to balance that with the fact that I'm not going to be including hero units. It's an experiment in how connected does the player feel to the character without the character having to be on the battlefield. So there is a reason for me to do a Deerfucker project. It's just that it's like that reason is basically couched in a way to experiment with a different kind of storytelling that I hope will work better than having a hero unit that either morphs gameplay insofar as like they're really powerful, and so you are obligated to use them, or you know, negatively impacts the player's decision making and what they can actually do. Insofar as like, oh, if you lose your hero, it's game over. Like, that feels so bad. Especially when I'm also trying to go for like a game state that implies that the player will be building a lot of bases and a lot of production structures and constantly slamming out units. And like, if they're going to be dealing with larger scale conflicts, it makes sense to me then that you would have less of a focus on keeping individual units alive, because you're probably going to be like building thousands of units per map. So whence cometh the need for hero units that must survive? I don't see how they can fit in a positive way. So that's more or less the mission statement, if you will, of that project. So hopefully it works out. It will say missile. Okay, cool. So we're done there. We just got to do the setup for the other two personalities, and then we can start. Oh yeah, I've got to append a check to everything here. And I think I caught an error earlier. This is supposed to be expire. Is it Spire weapon? Spire attack. I don't actually remember. It was for dialogue, or I probably turned. Like I was considering even back then trying to rewrite a bunch of stuff, but if it always seems really wrong to me. Like even with Stormborn, which is obviously more recent than in Consummate or anything else. It's pretty much the most recent complete experience I've released. It always feels wrong to be writing dialogue for what essentially amounts to other people's characters. Like in the case of most comedy situations, like if I've done plenty of map craps where I like take characters from other people's projects and that everybody knows about, and I just like basically use them to take the piss. That stuff is fairly reasonable, I guess. But with excuse me, with Stormborn, I actually took, in theory, I was playing it straight, and it felt wrong to be using like Tassadar and all this other shit, but definitely felt a little too fanfiction-y for my liking. It's just that I can't I don't have as complete control over things, and then as a result, I can't even take complete credit. It's like if somebody plays Stormborn and they're like, wow, Pronogo's version of Tassadar is great, or Pronogo's version of Tassadar is terrible. It's like, in neither case can I take complete credit for that, because it's not my original character. You know what I mean? But anyway, I don't know exactly what the situation was for your script. I don't know if you have it somewhere. But that's been an ongoing struggle with me. Is like, I guess it's a little bit different for, if you remember, Gorn and Arak are characters in the original campaign, but they don't actually have character. Like, they don't have lines, they don't have definitions. They're not even named. They're named in a manual, I think, but they're not actually present in the story. Zeratul just unceremoniously kills them in the penultimate vanilla Protoss map. And so it's like, okay, well, that's fine, I guess. And I don't even really care that they weren't presented there, but the fact that they were never presented by Blizzard, it means that it's a little bit more free for somebody else to come in and write them in a different way. It still feels a little fanfiction-y to me, even that, but it's presented alongside original characters in that sense, that I think it helps you to separate it out. Even so, it's still... It's not technically that I have no control over that character or limited control over that character, because I still do. But as a writer, I feel like you learn a lot more when you write your own characters, even if they're in somebody else's setting, like Starcraft. Though ideally, you'd also be writing your own setting. But even if you're not, like, you're doing like what I did with Inconsummate, or what plenty of other people have done with custom campaigns, like even the Antioch Chronicles or whatever, you learn a lot more because you can take a lot more complete responsibility and ownership over the strengths and weaknesses of however your final execution turned out to be. So it's like, if you, in your case, were writing a script for like Nemesis Omega, like you just described, versus if you were writing a script for your own characters, it's like you learn more, I think, by writing your own stuff, because suddenly you can look at that and you can say, all right, well, here's exactly where like something is good or bad, and you know it's like from you messing around with it, or you actually writing that, instead of you tweaking somebody else's reaction. It's like, oh, maybe that's not exactly how that character would react, but you didn't write the original character, so it's harder to know. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have the details on it specifically, but yeah, I can't speak to its quality or anything, because I don't know if I took a look at it or not. Maybe I would, if you send it to me, I might be able to refresh my memory and tell you definitively if I've seen it before. But that has been a difficulty with, like, storytelling in general, that a lot of people seek to, well, maybe they just don't know what they want. I don't know. I had a conversation about this a while ago with some of the people in my server, where basically it's like most custom campaigns, when they have writing, they don't really see how they could, like, they don't have necessarily, they couldn't necessarily explain to you why they wrote that. You know what I mean? Excuse me. It's like if you have a situation where you're writing a line of dialogue, and that line of dialogue's purpose is to illustrate some character trait, or combine, like, it's to give you some information about a character, or a faction. It's for world building, maybe. It's like, the more things you can accomplish in that one dialogue line, the better, because that's more minimalistic. There's less time spent in a briefing or in a cutscene or during a dialogue event in game as well. Like, it's less time spent in that sense. So it's more impactful per word or whatever. Like, there's more significance per word. And so the pacing is better, generally speaking. The more you can squeeze into the smaller amount of time, basically. And when you follow that to its logical conclusion, you realize that a lot of dialogue lines don't really seem to be working towards establishing information that is actually needed, or it's like set up with no payoff a lot of the time. Well, I'm not even necessarily trying to direct these these tips or whatever to you specifically. I just think it's an interesting thing to talk about, is like to try to conceive of like what developers were intending when they wrote their dialogue, similar to like what were they intending when they made their mission. Because you can break it all down through the same sort of prism. You can say like, all right, well, if I can, you know, do environmental storytelling, like I can create a bunch of corpses or whatever, and then place them in a very specific fashion. You know, if I can design art such that it tells a story without dialogue needing to be there at all, then the player can soak that in. And in Consummate, I didn't really do that. I designed a bunch of dead doodads, and then I just scattered them everywhere. So the only thing you could get from that is, oh, there was a battlefield here. And like you can kind of understand like what the tech level was of the enemies sometimes, or what the just what the races were as far as the factions were concerned. But you couldn't really get anything useful out of it from a gameplay perspective. All you knew is that like, oh yeah, there was a battle here, and it was pretty hodgepodge in that sense. So I wasn't really a big fan of that looking back, but it was like I had a new toy and I just wanted to sprinkle it everywhere. So even in that sense, I wasn't really considering what kind of purpose this would serve. I only served the most basic purpose with my environmental storytelling. All I did was tell you there was a battle here. Whereas I could have told you there was a battle here and how recent was it, based on like the wear and tear that I would apply to the assets. And then I could also tell you like what was the tech level of the opponents that were fighting. And so if you only see basic units, maybe you only expect basic units. But if you see a carrier, maybe you expect a carrier attack at some point. I could have like reinforced it a lot with the gameplay. And so in that sense, I could have accomplished a lot more, even though there's no dialogue associated with it whatsoever. It's just like, oh, the player sees a carrier doodad, it's crashed into the ground. Maybe there's some Scourge corpses around it too. So it's like, okay, well, so the Zerg have Scourge and the Protoss have carrier attack. Like, at least now I know that. Whereas, like, otherwise, I just threw a bunch of shit everywhere, and it didn't reflect in, you know, it wasn't reinforced in the gameplay. It was set up without a payoff in a very similar sense, I think. So, that's my spiel, at least. Of course, in a environment where you have more control over the art than in Starcraft, where the tiles are much more limited, you can, in theory, get a lot more done. We're actually going to swap. These. What a psychotic song. Well, in the interest of not losing my mind, I'm going to take a quick pee break. And you guys can listen to this song. BRB. Hi. I gotta make sure that I'm not missing any checks at any point. Okay. Two there. Oh yeah, I need to do the Hydra stuff. I guess we can just mostly copy and paste this stuff and merge it all. Just modify the order where necessary. I think the bigger changes to the personalities will come in the form of the tech patterns anyway, like the build orders, more so than the upgrade orders. I'm glad every single time I look back at special best, it's just another emoji. Highbrow content. have to do that. Prank. That would be pretty hilarious if it just went back to what it was before. Contact. What's up, babe? Nice. I'm just about to be finished. Well, I guess I still have a little bit of a ways to go here, but before long, I will be done with the setup for the upgrades, and that means I'll be starting on. What is after upgrades again? I guess spellcasting, but there's also something else. I guess it'll just be building at that point, right? Yeah, it'll be town threads. Build orders. After the build orders, it's the production, and after the production, it's the attacks. I don't know if I'll get to that all today, but once I'm done with this script, all of the melee AI will be operational, and we'll be able to actually play Hydra Melee, in theory. Like AI-supported Hydra Melee, that is. Oh yeah, missile attack is level 11. And I think this is 46 or something. Oh wait, I don't even think there are any upgrades that are hive attack specific. Oh yeah, somebody else was asking about that earlier. Deerfucker. That is the campaign name. Or, it's not really a campaign as much as it is a series of maps. And it's all one word. Deerfucker. Now, Deerfucker is basically a series of maps. You don't really know when they take place in terms of chronological order in relation to one another, but they follow similar, if not identical, characters throughout all of them. And it's basically my way of experimenting with not having hero units in game, but still providing a connection to characters. So, like a big thing that I'm going to continue testing as time goes on, I want to be able to say, hey, if I've got, you know, all these characters that are talking and they've got dialogue and they personify their personality through their whatever it's called, their gameplay, right? Their performance. How well will the player react? How well will the player relate to them or connect with them? So that's more or less the reason for working on this project. And since I wanted to get some AI-related experiments taken care of, it means I'm looking at specifying a bunch of personalities and getting the structure done for the AI of each race. So that means writing melee AI that I can then customize and modify as I need to. And that's what I'm doing right now. I've already done Protoss and Terran. Up next is Zerg, which is what we're working on. Once that's done, I'll continue to optimize the AI and eventually get them into a personalized state. So, like, in this particular map, the only AIs are Terrans. So what I would do here is I would take the Terran melee AI, I would hack out everything that I don't need, which is like personality-based switches or whatever probably aren't going to be necessary. Maybe I could do something that would like respond to scouting information, but that's like way later on. It's not necessary for the first draft of the AI. So I would basically hack out parts of the skeleton I'm not necessarily going to use. And then I would add like base layouts, I would add manually set up expansions and the expansion setup so that it goes in a specific order. Or has a series of priorities, basically. So like they'll prioritize their natural, and then they'll prioritize their third, and then after that they go into a freeform or whatever. And once I'm done with that experiment, as it were, once I'm done slotting in all of the different AI and map-specific elements, we've got the AI. So basically there's like a series of abstractions where at first you have melee AI, and then you have personality AI that acts as a it's an AI that's not map-specific, but it's tethered to the particular personality of the AI. So like, Arak likes to sunken push, so he's going to have 30, 40 sunken colony requests in his main. And he's going to try to just do that. So, like, stuff like that, right? Zaz likes to mass air. Gorn likes to build queens and use spawn broodling a lot. Stuff like that, right? So we would write personalities that reflect that. And then, once we have the basic personality script that more or less has the same kind of behaviors, we would go from there into each individual map where those AIs manifest as enemies. And we would say, okay, in the first map that they present themselves in, here are their coordinates for their bases, and here are the coordinates for their attacks, and here are the coordinates for their proxies, or whatever else is map-specific, basically. Their expansions, that sort of thing. And that's all we would have to do. So, like, once we write the melee AI, we then modify it into the core personality AI. And then from there, we modify the core personality script into map-specific scripts for every single mission that they present themselves in. And so it's like a way to make the development time a lot more reasonable for each individual AI. Right, so it'd be like base layouts, attack 2, coordinates, and maybe some more map-specific strategies like proxying, build orders being distinct depending on what expansions they have access to. Like some of the maps, they may require more heavy rewrites than others, or more heavy hand-holding in the early stages of the game, so that their opening few minutes is more stable and more adapted to the map. And that's fine. Like, probably means that I would spend maybe an hour or two per script instead of like however long it currently takes, though. So it's like every time I'm adapting a script to an individual map, it shouldn't take me longer than like an hour and a half to get all the base layouts and proxies and expansions and map-specific behavior done as a first pass, and then we can move on from there. So, yeah, I think it'll be really good. I'm gonna skip that one though, because that's really annoying. But yeah, you've got it nailed there. And yes, I also think that having the AI, the playstyle and the performance level, even like how competent they are, all of that relating to the player and like being a reflection of the personality of the character, I think that's a good way to do it in an RTS. It's just that I haven't personally done that. I haven't actually seen that done ever. So I'm writing my own study book on this, basically, and that's what this campaign series or mission series scenario pack is destined to be. Yeah, I don't know about that one, Europa, but welcome. I don't see UED Commander anywhere, so. Alright, so that was a good burst. Now what we gotta do next is anyone's guess. Let's say queen. Probably makes the most sense. I don't actually know if ensnaring is, yeah, I guess it is tech. Good sci-fi to read. The only thing I can recommend with any confidence is the Dune series of books, but odds are if you're reading sci-fi, you've probably already read those. I myself have not read them, but I've heard from very trustworthy sources that they are worth the read. The only books I have distinct memories of reading are like they're basically like Dungeons and Dragons books, like Icewind Dale, Dritz Duorden, I think his name was, that dark elf guy. But those are all fantasy books, you know. They're not science fiction. I think I did. Did I read any? I read those Terry Goodkind sort of truth books. Well, not all of them, because he wrote like 30 of them. But I read like 12 or something, maybe 10. The one science fiction show I've watched recently was Altered Carbon. I watched the first season a long time ago, and then I recently watched the second season. Unfortunately, it's not a very great show on its own merits. Like, the writing is pretty cliche and gets really eye-rolly as time goes on. They basically jump the shark, for whatever significance that phrase has to you. But the setting is interesting and thought-provoking. And that's like some of the best stuff about that show is the setting. And so if you can sort of like ignore a lot of the stupidity associated with the actual plot and use the show as a vehicle to experience the setting, that might be of interest. That's basically what I did. Yeah, that's what it is. It's Drizzt Duorden. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that. Maybe you are supposed to pronounce it Drizzt. I have a distinct memory of reading one part of that book where it says that in order to train his eyes to deal with with being on the surface, he stared at the sun for like a week, like not consecutively, but every day he got up and stared at the sun until it was set or something for like a week. I just kept thinking like that's even as a kid, I was like 8 years old or something when I was reading this stuff, but even then I was like, this is retarded. I don't think that works that way. Oh shit, it's actually still going, huh? That is pretty insane. I'm actually not more of a fantasy guy. I would much prefer science fiction. I generally much prefer science fiction. Problem is I haven't really exposed myself to a lot of stuff. Like I said, the Doom books are, if I'm going to read a book series, that would be the book series to get back into reading with, because I haven't read much of anything in a long while. But I honestly can't remember the last science fiction stuff that I read. I mean, even these Dungeons and Dragons fantasy books that I'm talking about, I read them when I was in my early teenage years or something. It's like at least 12 years ago. Why is it that many books? Whenever it's like it gets to that number of books, I almost, maybe this is just a bias I have, but I almost immediately think, oh, somebody didn't, like, they sold out, like they don't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's just my take. I might be wrong about that. I don't know. Yeah. That's just like a memory I have of like, oh yeah, I see this guy really paid attention in science class before sitting down to write this. I don't know. I read a lot of books when I was much younger. Like in my early teenage years, I read a lot of books, but I don't have many memories of what they actually contained. I actually don't. I mean, most of my time is spent working on stuff. Oh, there was one good moment in that book that I remember, which is when the Dark Elf character, Dritz Jordan, like he stumbles, he accidentally makes noise while observing a wizard, and the wizard turns around and he just says, "Who's there?" But he says it in like 100 different languages. He just says it like back to back until he runs out of languages to say it and or something, and then he turns back around and keeps working. But it was really funny to me. I was like, holy shit, this guy's just got a memory. But like that was one way to describe that the wizard has like a lot of intellect in there. That he says who's there and like rattles them off in different languages. I have been trying to get back into watching movies lately. I watched Annihilation, which I guess you could class as a science fiction film. Really generic, stupid name, but pretty decent movie, I think. It glosses over some of the things that you would think would be in that kind of movie, but it does so in order to not mess with pacing and focus on things that are a bit more interesting. Unfortunately, there was one scene in that movie that really took me out of all of the action scenes that would follow, which is not really like... I mean, I guess the other action scenes are okay, but there's just this one scene where it's super obvious that like the characters didn't know where they should be looking because of whatever the special effect wasn't done in a practical sense. So the characters didn't know where they should be aiming their face or their guns. And so it looks really bad. I don't know why it got cut that way, but it did. Yeah, he's just showing up. There you go. But yeah, I mean, outside of that one scene that really destroyed me, I thought that was a pretty good movie. Other than that, I watched Day of the Dead, which is a classic old movie. Most notably, there's basically like it's a lot of buildup just so that you can see a lot of characters die in some psychotic ways. My first introduction to the whole like actors responding to special effects thing was when I was watching the behind the scenes of I think there was like a really old Halo. I don't know if it was a video series. I think so. It was like a TV show series or something. I don't remember what it was. It was like Halo. It's not Waypoint because that's like an app or something. I forget what it was though. It was some Halo live action series. And because they were doing literally like almost everything in post, as far as like the special effects goes, yeah, it might have been Forward Unto Dawn, might have been that, I don't know. But there's these characters that were supposed to be looking out a window from their training academy to see Covenant ground troops storming the area, and like the behind the scenes just has them say, like has some director guy in the background. He's like, "You're seeing something horrible, something horrifying. something terrifying. And then they say action, and the actors just go. That destroyed me, man. I was like, holy shit, they don't even have a reference point for these guys, these poor guys. What are they gonna do? How are they gonna do it? And so yeah, that was pretty funny. That was like the first time I realized how they were doing that. Oh man. I could be misquoting. Obviously, I watched that years and years ago, but it was something really goofy. Yeah, it might have actually been more in depth, in all fairness, but it was pretty funny. It wasn't enough to deliver a believable reaction, in my opinion. I see you're describing the plot of Starcraft 2. Although you could be describing Brood War, honestly. There's not much of a difference there. Yeah. She's got to be sexy, dude. It's the only way. Listen. Overwatch. That's all I'll say. Yeah, true. You can persuade you can persuade furries to side with you and jump in front of you. What a mess. This is, let me see. Track 5 of the third album from Senmouth, which is Along the Way to the Celestial. The 5th track is called Fragment. So I guess you could search Senmouth, Fragment. I guess in this case we should do... What is that? Oh, should be probably that. Well, I sure hope it's not as over the top with stupid character grunting and interactions the way that most anime is. The only anime I could ever get into, which it wasn't really getting into it as much as it was laughing at it. There was some laughing with it, but a lot of it was laughing at it, was One Punch Man. That was at least enough of a satire and spectacle that I could deal with it. But even that, it's almost like... It reminds me of a series of events in Borderlands. Or not Borderlands, Bulletstorm. Wrong game, holy shit. So there's like a part in Bulletstorm where they basically make fun of the fact that they are a bad game. It's like, okay, well, at least I know you're aware, but it doesn't excuse your behavior. That's how I felt about One Punch Man. It doesn't excuse the fact that they used these same exact pitfalls and flaws. But maybe that's anime in general is just something I've realized. It doesn't seem like you can escape it. It's almost like that's part of the style. And so if you can't take that seriously, then not much of a point. You know what I mean? Oh, I see what you mean. Well, I guess if it was from the 90s, that would explain it. I've heard Ghost in the Shell is kind of similar. And admittedly, I have only been exposed to stuff like fucking Naruto and Code Lyoko, I think it is. Not Code Geass, the other one. Basically like the old Toonami shit. Bo-bo-bo, bo-bo-bo-bo. Stuff like that. It's just wacky for no reason. Oh, and I think One Piece? Is One Piece the one with the guy who has exploding boogers? And one of his boogers gets cut in half by a sword? By an anime sword man? I think that's One Piece. I watched about one episode, so I don't know. And that was when I was like 18. Oh, I was about to say 18. That's when I was like 12. Yeah, but doesn't One Piece have a scene where a guy cuts an exploding booger in half? I'm pretty sure that was One Piece. I don't know what else it would have been that I would have been watching at the time. I don't know. I know that Bobobo had his backstory was that his father was just a giant lock of hair that was bouncing up and down, and they came to arrest him for being hair, and he said, "No, take my kid. He's got way more hair than I do." And so they took him instead, and that was his backstory. I'm not making that up. That's real. Yeah. So it was the 3-sword guy who cut it in half. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, that's the same show. That's psychotic. What? Why is anime so psychotic? Like it. Again, if you're gonna do stuff like that, it's like Bobobo was just zany and over the top, and in that sense, I think it was trying to be funny. I don't have distinct enough memories of it to know if I laughed. There were some just weird things about it. Like I think somebody had a duck in his head or something. So there's just like wacky shit, but that's fine compared to like One Piece, which I think was trying to take itself seriously in some like it doesn't strike me as a show that was like Michael Bay serious, where it's just a laughing stock, but it was like a show that it wasn't quite satire. So seems to have missed the mark. Oh, okay. Dude, DBZ is just a catastrophic series of events, man. What a mess. Alright, I gotta use the bathroom again. Wait, how long have I been streaming? Okay, not that long. Alright, I'll be right back again. Hi. Oh shit! As in generate from pathing flags? You're the man, man. I forgot that I even requested that feature. Oh, I just realized I can probably... Wait. Well, I started super late, so here I am. But yeah, so far so good. Once I'm done with this section here, I'll probably be over halfway done with the script for the Zerg. It doesn't really bear out considering we're talking about an AI that is like around 2,000 lines for the other races, and we're not even 1,000 lines down. But a lot of that stuff is like copying and pasting, and this script will probably be shorter than a lot of the others anyway. Okay. I keep looking over here expecting there to be a magical refilling of my water, which I should have done while I was out. Unfortunately, magic does not appear to exist in this plane, so that will never happen. Beach episodes. Is that really a trope in anime? Gotta have an episode on the beach, boy. What the fuck? Beach. Why? Why is that a thing? I wonder if I remember. I feel like that might have happened in One Punch Man, actually, but I don't think. No, I don't think so. Yeah, that sounds like it's just fan service. Well, I think the problem is too that there's an element of that where it's like anything that you're just by virtue of you understanding how all of this shit works behind the scenes, if you will, it does ruin the illusion of like, oh, I wonder why they decided to go this way and why they decided to make that decision. Like, if you know that the intent was just for fan service, like the whole reason for something was for fan service, it completely destroys the immersion within the film, right? Or the TV episode or whatever. And that's why I think, like, that's my biggest pet peeve with fan service, is that it doesn't feel like there's a justification for it to exist. No internal justification, anyway. And at that point, it's no better than... Well, actually, it's still worse, I think, than something being there just because whoever wrote the story wanted it to be there. Like, okay, maybe the author didn't set everything up the way that they should have, but if they at least, if it's because they want something to be there and that's why something is there, at least they're being honest to their, you know, vision or whatever. So you have that aspect going for it. What I'll never understand is the Japanese obsession with like waifus. I guess is like just a catch-all term. That to me is the same thing as like boob falling. It's a different kind of fan service. But I guess not really. It is a trope. As opposed to I don't know, whatever. It's there is probably a fine line distinction there that you can take, but for me it just becomes psychotic. Put a scattered cost on that, so this would just say. Trying to do that one for a while. I think spires are 150 units. I think I got it all. Always nice to tab back in and see disaster. I don't know if I actually ever made that change. Well, now what do I do? Finish the tech stuff, I guess. Oh, I was thinking of maybe doing a wait hatch as well, but I don't think that'll be necessary. We can handle that through. Like, I don't know that it'll be... The one way where it would be useful is expressly requesting it early instead of using ad build or relying on, like, resource excess. But I have a feeling that will just come naturally. I'm not really that worried about it. One thing I am still curious about is why the resource multiplier wasn't working. And it's part of this, right? Oops. Yeah, for whatever reason, it didn't seem like the AI cheat was working for in multiplayer, and specifically that map. I don't know why though, because it was UMS. I wonder if that could explain some shit. Actually, like if I'm connecting through BattleNet, is there a difference? No, they don't seem to be getting the money cheat in multiplayer, or that code isn't working and they're not getting it at all. Let me see. No, they're still not doing it. What the fuck? I wonder if our player table lookup thing isn't working properly anymore. If that's the case and they were not receiving the multiplier at any point and they were still putting out the kind of performance they were putting out, that's pretty funny. But that would also explain why their early game is atrocious. Yeah, I don't know why that would be the case. Maybe in my initial, this doesn't include harvesting. Definitely does. Okay. I'm pretty sure there's still a bug with the Hydralisk Den request using player need, where if you have one of the other versions of it, like if you have the Basilisk Den or the Lurker Den, it will bug out and still require two plain Hydra Dens. Eventually we'll fix that. I'm not even sure if that's 100% the case. It's kind of a grab bag after a certain point here, but I guess we would do like Defiler, Ultra at the same time. Did I even request a Hydra? Oh yeah, I did. I guess the Swarm would be using... Okay, so we're done with the tech and build order stuff. What was next? We already did expansions as a result as well. Oh yeah. I love that I can abbreviate the wait for assimilator as WAS. That's a personal favorite. Sweet. And sunk. Should probably do this for prod. Oh, I already did this. Well, I guess now that I think about it, there really isn't much of a point to differentiate here. Oh, actually, there is? Yeah, never mind, there is. Though we'll see how distinct they actually end up being, of course. So we'll say... Oh, well, there's not really much of a reason to differentiate here, I think, is the key. Because they're always going to call it in the same order anyway. It's just going to be different quantities. That's what I think. So, maybe not. Maybe that does make sense. Because maybe, like, for this, we would do Gen and Swarm would be identical. So we can just get rid of that. And then probably Connor would like prefer layers over hatches over hives, and then whereas it would be a descending for air. Air would do hive, layer, hatch. So that would be the difference there, I suppose. But otherwise, I mean, like, they're all going to have the similar... The quantities are going to be different, but not by a huge margin. This is always the most fucking time-consuming part, is, like, doing these production things. After this, it's just straight-up attacks, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Unfortunately, this music reminds me of Deadly Premonition. Talk about this. Alright, Hoopdor reacted to one message with a million cat emoji, so he's banned. Bye. What a mess. This is where we kind of get into different territory here, I think. No, Hoop Thrower's been around for a while. I wouldn't actually ban him over cat emoji. Just something I like to fantasize about. Alright. Pretty sure we got decent enough progress for today. Once I'm done with this stuff, I'll probably call it quits. All that'll be left is the attacks, which I can do either later on today or tomorrow morning before fraud night. So time will tell how we go, how we do. No, today's Friday, you goofball. But also hi. Saturday in like 2 countries. Time difference is also a thing, yeah. Yeah, you're like 12 hours ahead of me or something. Ultraless. I didn't realize I already wrote. Okay, hatcheries are done. On to lairs. I might be being summoned away. Hold on one sec. Okay, I have returned. We'll wrap this bad boy up now because I am definitely checked out right now. So, 6 layer for that. Okay. Yeah, so what I'm thinking is all of the layers, or all of the hatcheries will be turned into layers and then hives by the air personality. Most of the hatcheries will turn into layers, and most of the layers will turn into hives by the Connor personality. And then the general and swarm personality will be like way more hatcheries, like a third or something of that. will be layers, and then maybe a third of that or something like that will be hives. So limited on the hives, but like there probably won't be hives at all in the minimum expansions, whereas the other ones will at least have one by comparison. So it's like, so here we would say like one crash battle add layer or hive. And Connor, air, and then go to turn. 13. Oh wait. Hatchment. Okay. So for medium air hatcheries, there were 4. So we have 4 there. Oh, this is max. What is max? 6 there. Which means the hive max is swarm. I guess we can just delete swarm and we'll have it be the same as gem. So layer max for Connor was 5, so we'll say like 2. We'll say 3, and then over here we'll say... Okay. Layer medium, I haven't done. Hatch medium for air is 4. Hatch medium for Gen was 6. And there's probably what, 3? If I had to guess, and where a comma will be. So the layers are done, pretty sure. Again, medium air is 4, so hive medium air should be that. So in this case, medium Connor is just max gen. And then I think that means that hives are done too. Nice. Well, I think that's that. I'll be back tomorrow for even more modding. Prepare yourself. Bye.